The warning that went unheard. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was a monolithic structure, carved into the heart of a hollowed asteroid, suspended in the void between the warring factions of the cosmos. It was a place where peace was dictated, where the fate of lesser civilizations was decided by the whims of the old and the powerful. Towering crystalline pillars stretched toward an unseen ceiling, shimmering under the artificial glow of the chamber's central star, a miniature sun encased in a force field, floating in the center of the room. The floor beneath it was a mosaic of shifting light, the ever-changing display a symbol of the galaxy's fluid balance of power. Hundreds of alien representatives filled the chamber, each seated on raised platforms according to their species' influence. Some were massive, hulking brutes encased in living armor, their bioweapons integrated into their very flesh. Others were wisps of energy, contained within fragile crystalline bodies, their voices like the echoes of a dying star. Some were old beyond comprehension, their ancient forms barely capable of movement, yet their influence stretching across millennia. And then there was James Walker, the lone human standing at the center podium, under the scrutiny of 100 alien eyes. Dressed in a simple black suit, he was a stark contrast to the extravagance and technological marvels surrounding him. His people had no need for ornate displays of power. Humanity's strength was not in ceremony, but in action. He cleared his throat, the sound unnervingly loud in the vast chamber. Distinguished members of the Galactic Council, he began, his voice steady, betraying none of the unease he felt under their scrutiny. Earth and its colonies have met all requirements for full membership. We have advanced our technology, stabilized our societies, and demonstrated our willingness to engage in peaceful cooperation. A ripple of sound passed through the chamber, a mixture of whispers, murmurs, and electronic pulses, as various species debated his words in their own languages. Some were intrigued, others skeptical. Walker had expected this. He continued, "We seek no war, no conquest, only the chance to contribute to the greater good of the galactic community." There was a moment of silence. Then a voice, cold and measured, cut through the air like a blade. And yet, humans are known for their violence. All eyes turned toward Council Leader Bluestone, a crystalline being whose body refracted the chamber's artificial light in a mesmerizing display of blues and silvers. The leader's voice was translated into 100 different frequencies, ensuring every species understood his words. "Tell me, human, why should we welcome your kind when history has shown your tendency toward destruction?" Walker had prepared for this. He opened his mouth to respond, but another voice interrupted before he could. "Stop." It was not a request. It was an order. The voice boomed through the chamber, sending a shockwave of silence through the gathered representatives. Even the most powerful species hesitated, their murmurings cut short as a shadow moved at the far end of the room. From the darkened corner of the hall, where the representatives of the Ancient Ones resided, a figure emerged. The being was tall and skeletal, its skin like aged parchment, stretched too thin over an impossibly frail frame. Its eyes were deep pools of shadow, endless voids that reflected the weight of time itself. It was an elder, a member of one of the first species to achieve interstellar travel. And when they spoke, the galaxy listened. The council stirred, many leaning forward in their seats, some with curiosity, others with unease. Walker himself felt a chill run down his spine. The elder's presence here was unexpected. Their kind had long abstained from political matters, choosing to observe rather than interfere. And yet, here they were, floating down to the center of the chamber, their gaze fixed not on Walker, but on the council itself. The elder's voice was calm, but heavy. "You do not understand what you are dealing with." Bluestone shifted, his crystalline form humming with slight agitation. "Elder Whiteleaf, your species surrendered its voting rights centuries ago. You hold no authority here." "I do not speak to vote," the elder interrupted, their voice resonating through the chamber like the distant echo of collapsing stars. "I speak to warn." The chamber grew still. Even Walker could feel it now. The shift in the room. The elder turned their gaze toward him, then back to the council. You believe humanity is like the others you have encountered. You are wrong. The silence deepened. When struck, they do not submit. When broken, they'd rebuild. When pursued, they do not flee. The elder's voice grew heavier, their presence casting a shadow across the chamber. When you make an enemy of humanity, they do not stop until you are nothing but dust. A lesson in war. A soft laugh broke the silence. A representative from the Warrior Claw Kingdom, their armor gleaming under the light, spoke in amusement. Surely you exaggerate, Elder. All species fight. All species seek vengeance when provoked. The elder turned their hollow gaze toward the warrior. Do they? A pause. Then the elder raised a hand, and from the shadows, a projection bloomed in the air. The image flickered to life, displaying footage from a galactic archive. A star map. Then a planet. Its surface charred and broken. A whisper of unease rippled through the chamber. Walker recognized it instantly. It was the remnants of the Draken Empire, a once mighty species that had made the mistake of attacking an early human colony. They had burned entire cities, taken humans as slaves, and declared Earth as an easy conquest. They had not expected the response. What followed was not war as the galaxy understood it. It was a hunt. The Draken fleet had been systematically dismantled, their supply lines cut, their leaders found and executed, one by one, over the course of 5 relentless years. The last remnants of their empire vanished. Not because they surrendered, because humanity refused to stop. Walker remained silent, watching the flickering images as they showed the slow, inevitable destruction of a species that had underestimated the one thing the elder had tried to warn them about. Do not mistake humanity's desire for peace as weakness, the elder said quietly. The projection vanished, because when they are left with no other choice, they will hunt you forever. The chamber was silent, not with dismissal, but with fear. Humanity's relentless vengeance. The chamber remained silent, not in defiance, but in fear. The holographic projection of the fallen Draken Empire still lingered in their minds, its haunting images a stark reminder of what happened to those who crossed humanity. Ambassador James Walker stood still, his hands clasped behind his back, his face unreadable. He had known about the Draken Purge, as the humans called it, but never before had he seen the fear it inspired in the galaxy's most powerful beings. It was ironic, really. They called humans monsters, yet they were the ones who had drawn first blood. Now, for the first time, they understood the cost of their arrogance. Council leader Bluestone finally spoke, his crystalline body humming with agitation. This is a tragedy, not a justification for war. His voice was measured, but even he could not keep the unease from seeping through. The elder's dark gaze flickered toward him. A tragedy. The room grew colder. No, counselor. A lesson. Bluestone straightened, his authority returning. You suggest that humanity is unique in its capacity for vengeance, that it is somehow different from the rest of us. But history proves otherwise. All species retaliate. All species protect their own. What makes them so special? The elder stared at him, unblinking. Because they never stop. The hunt that never ends. The holographic projection changed. The ruins of the Draken homeworld faded, replaced now by a new map, a galactic record dating back decades. This is the record of every conflict initiated against the humans since they joined the stars. The elder continued. Let us examine what happened to each aggressor. The first planet glowed bright red. The Rothan clans, a species of brutal raiders, known for enslaving weaker civilizations. They had attempted to raid one of Earth's first colonies in the Vega system, believing humans to be an easy target. They did not realize that humans would not simply accept defeat. The Rothan fleet engaged humanity in what they assumed would be a quick subjugation. The hologram zoomed in, showing battle records. The initial engagement was swift, the Rothans overwhelming the colony's defenses in hours. But instead of surrendering, the humans evacuated their civilians and destroyed their own infrastructure, denying the Rothans any usable resources. Then came the retaliation. For 10 years, humanity hunted every Rothan warship, every outpost, every hidden base. It was not just about reclaiming what was lost. It was about ensuring they would never do it again. One by one, the Rothan fleets vanished from the star maps, until at last, the Rothan leadership surrendered unconditionally, their power broken forever. What was once a mighty warrior race, the Elder said, now exists as little more than scattered refugees, begging for protection from the same council that once feared them. The hologram flickered again. The next aggressor appeared, the Cathari Dominion, a species renowned for its ruthless expansionism. They had attempted to claim human mining operations on the Outer Rim, believing Earth to be too distant to retaliate effectively. They believed that humans, like so many before them, would accept their losses and move on, that a few destroyed colonies would force them into negotiations. They were wrong. Instead of retreating, the humans weaponized the very environment against them. They hacked into Cathari supply networks, sabotaged their ships, infiltrated their command structures. They did not engage in direct war. They starved them out. The Cathari Dominion collapsed not from battle, but from attrition, the Elder continued. They underestimated not humanity's strength, but their patience. For 5 years, the humans waged a war they never officially declared, until the Cathari had no choice but to abandon their expansion and retreat. Walker remained silent. He knew all these events by heart. Humanity did not seek war. But when war was forced upon them, they did not simply fight. They erased the possibility of future conflict. What happens if the council turns against them? The chamber was silent as the holograms disappeared, leaving only the glow of the artificial star above. The Elder turned to the council once more. You have spent generations assuming you control the fate of the galaxy, they said, that you decide which species thrive and which fade. A pause. You believe the humans are asking for membership because they need your guidance. They do not. They ask because they wish to build, to share, to stand among you as equals. But if you deny them, if you insult them, if you betray them, the Elder leaned forward, their voice lowering to a whisper. Then they will not ask again. The words hung in the air like a curse. Council leader Bluestone shifted, discomfort evident in his crystalline body. Are you saying they would retaliate? I am saying, the Elder said, that they will remember. A murmur swept through the chamber. Some council members whispered to their aides, clearly shaken. Others exchanged uneasy glances. Only Walker remained still. The choice that must be made. Bluestone sat back, considering. Humanity is still a young species, he finally said. It has much to prove. Walker finally spoke. We already have. The council turned to him, expecting more. But he said nothing else. There was nothing left to say. The Elder had already spoken the truth. Now, the council had a choice to make. And humanity. They would remember whatever choice was made. The final warning. The chamber had never been this quiet. For the first time in its long history, the Galactic Council found itself at a crossroads, not one of diplomacy, but one of survival. The Elder's warning still lingered in the air, a grim prophecy that refused to fade. The images of fallen empires, shattered fleets, and extinct species had left their mark on even the most arrogant members of the Council. And yet, doubt remained. High above, Council leader Bluestone sat upon his hovering crystalline throne, his form shimmering under the artificial starlight. His kind had ruled for thousands of years, and yet today, even he felt something unfamiliar. Dread. He turned his sharp gaze toward Ambassador James Walker, the lone human who stood in the chamber center. Walker had not spoken since the Elder's revelation. He had no need to. His silence was an answer in itself. Bluestone exhaled, his crystalline body shifting as he addressed the gathered species. "We cannot allow fear to dictate our choices," he declared. "Humanity seeks membership in the Council. We must evaluate their worth based on reason, not threats." A murmur spread through the delegates, some nodding in agreement, others still shaken by the warnings of history. A voice rose from the far side of the chamber. "And if the warnings are true?" The speaker was General Torvak of the Bracthal Dominion, a species of towering reptilian warriors known for their brutal conquests. His scaled hide was black as obsidian, his golden eyes glowing like molten fire beneath the dim lights. "If the humans truly never stop, then are we not fools to invite them into our ranks?" Walker finally moved. He looked up, meeting Torvak's gaze with an expression that sent a shiver down the general's spine. "Do you fear us, General?" The entire room froze. Torvak's eyes narrowed. "The Bracthal fear no one." "Then why do you hesitate?" Walker asked, his voice calm but cutting. Torvak growled, his talons digging into the metal surface of his seat. "Because your kind is unnatural," he spat. "You do not fight like the others. You do not negotiate like the others. You are relentless, and I have seen too many species fall because they underestimated you." Walker tilted his head slightly. "Then you already know the truth." The chamber held its breath. "You do not fear that we will turn against you if you grant us membership," Walker continued. "You fear what will happen if you deny us." A cold realization settled over the room. Because deep down, they all knew it was true. The Forgotten War. The holographic projection that had displayed past conflicts now changed again. This time, it did not show the Draken Empire, nor the Rothan clans, nor the Kathari Dominion. It displayed a name long forgotten, the Exaran Imperium. The moment the name flashed across the chamber, a wave of unease swept through the delegates. Some shifted uncomfortably, others whispered to their aides. A few turned their gazes away, as if seeing the name alone was enough to bring back memories they wished to bury. Even Bluestone's crystalline body dimmed, as if the light within him flickered for a moment. The Exaran Imperium was one of the greatest civilizations in galactic history, the Elder said. For thousands of years, they ruled with absolute power. No species could challenge them. Until they met humanity. Walker's expression remained neutral. "We did not seek war with the Exaran." His voice was quiet, almost distant. "But they sought war with us." The projection shifted, displaying the first contact event. The Exaran Imperium had been an empire of conquerors, absorbing weaker civilizations into their fold without question. When they discovered humanity, they had assumed it would be no different. They had sent a single war fleet, enough to crush an entire planetary system. "They gave us one chance," Walker continued. "Surrender or be annihilated." The room was silent. "We gave them an answer." The hologram shifted again. The Exaran war fleet had never returned. What followed was a war unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The Exaran had power, technology, and numbers. But humanity had something else. "We had patience," Walker said, "and we had time." Instead of meeting the Exaran in open battle, humanity vanished into the void, striking from the shadows, attacking supply lines, infiltrating their networks. They turned the Exaran's own war machine against them. And slowly, over 30 years, the Exaran Imperium, once undefeated, began to crumble. One system at a time. One world at a time. Until nothing remained. "No treaty was ever signed," Walker said. "No peace was ever declared. Because there were no Exaran left to sign it." The weight of his words settled upon the council like a funeral shroud. Because in the end, it had not been a war. It had been an eradication. The council's decision. Bluestone shifted, his once bright form now dimmed with uncertainty. "And you say humans seek peace." Walker exhaled slowly. "We do." A pause. Then he lifted his gaze, his voice steady. "But we do not forget. And we do not forgive." The words hung there, heavy, a reminder that humanity did not play by the rules of the council. They never had. Bluestone turned toward the assembled representatives. For once, the council was divided not by power, but by fear. The elder watched them in silence, as if knowing what their choice would be before they even made it. Bluestone sighed. Then he spoke. "Let the vote begin."